Good evening and welcome to Live TV News at 18:30. My name is Indanji Duncan Simwaza. Let's look at the top stories making headlines. 19 political parties have successfully paid their presidential nomination fee ahead of the August 12 presidential polls. Reconstruction of the Lusaka city market has reached an advanced stage. For the second day in a row, more than 4,000 people have died of COVID-19 in India. The UK medical journal The Lancet has warned the death toll could reach 1 million by August. And now the news in detail. 19 political parties have successfully paid their presidential nomination fee ahead of the August 12 presidential polls. At the press briefing in Lusaka today, the Electoral Commission of Zambia ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Christias Shindano, however, says the 19 are not automatically nominated to be on the ballot paper. Mr. Shindano says the 19, one person is an independent. He says the 19 still have to go through the filing in process before they can officially be on the ballot paper.
Currently, as it stands, we could have more that would have paid and have not brought the deposit slips. But as it stands now, a total of 19 political parties have paid up, and the following is the draft schedule for pre-processing of their supporters at provincial centers across the country. And this will also give you an idea of those that have paid up, the 19. So, the pre-processing of supporters commences this Wednesday, 12th May 2021. It was initially scheduled for today, but this was postponed to Wednesday, and this was communicated to political parties at the Political Party Liaison Committee that was held on Friday last week.
The Traditional Health Practitioner Association of Zambia, TAPAZ, says COVID-19 pandemic has had a negative impact on the business of its members. TAPAZ President Rodwell Vongo has urged the government to help his association cope with the effect of the pandemic. Vongo says government over 14,000 registered traditional healers across the country have endured less business activities and have struggled to cope in the COVID-19 times. Vongo has called on government to help his members build better structures to improve hygiene health standards in their temples. David Kazila has more on this report.
COVID-19 times have hit various sectors of the economy in different ways. COVID-19 has indeed struck hard. Government has had to mitigate the effects of the pandemic in various ways in various sectors. Individuals, groups and churches are among sectors that have received government funding as mitigating measures against the effects of the COVID-19. The Traditional Healers Association of Zambia, however, feel deliberately neglected by the government and now wish to be assisted to mitigate the impact of the pandemic.
We are 40,000, so you cannot isolate 40,000 people and expect to fight COVID effectively. So the healers at 40,000 level must be must be highlighted very seriously. They must really be identified and approached and given the empowerment.
To have a feel of what the industry is really going through, this reporter visited a shrine in Lusaka's Misisi Township where I met Dr. Piri.
Mavuto yametapita mpandao zino kuchokera pa matende ya COVID-19 yalengesa kozinga vambiri vidvose vakala down kukala munga mu economy yakala yovuta chifuka vantu siva maenda kuti bwere moenda kuti vakamangala woyo payo pachifuka cha matenda. So ngakhale kuno kuchipatala watu stilandira ma customers niwakamozi kamozi chabe chifuka kuyenda vamakhala kulepera kuyenda ndiye mavuto yameta nkhala kupita muna mandao zino.
This reporter further took the opportunity of interacting with Mr. Vongo to hear what he has to say about individuals who claim that going to traditional healers is unchristian and satanic.
Going by your word, Christian nation, people will think, going to healers, it means you are supporting Satanism. Is healing satanic? Jesus used to heal. Jesus was the greatest physician that ever lived. He said, take your mat and go. And healers are doing exactly that, but in another different form.
It is indeed the cry of every citizen, including traditional healers, to be helped and supplemented in these times that COVID-19 has hit the economy. David Kajila Mkomongo, reporting for Live TV News in Lusaka.
Meanwhile, a Lusaka-based tradition healer, James Peary, has called on fellow tradition healers to protect the reputation of tradition healers in the country. Mr. Peary has cautioned members of the general public to be wary of fake tradition healers. He has urged the public to only deal with tradition healers who are registered and have fixed proper place of work. He was speaking in an interview with Live TV News in Lusaka.
Apa bomo ifunika kuyangana pa kwambiri Dr. Yes amafunika kana permanent place yosebenzerapo mposa kufunika kana chilolezo mapepa la bwino afunika kana nawo then chifuka ya kuti bamene woenda bamakala kuti ifya zina kwambiri lena ngamba tiyo tipanga ndalama Dr. apanga ndalama ini nipanga ndalama then batawa bati ifya zina ese kuti tisebenze bwino kuli kulebe so awo wose ngati wapeze kaso walibe mapepa ngati niwoenda bafunika kugwiriwa kuti kuwafunsa bwino chamene msimukhalira pasi nechani chikwamati ifya zina.
We are going to go on a short break. Still to come, international news as well as sports. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We continue with the news. In international news, for the second day in a row, more than 4,000 people have died of COVID-19 in India. UK medical journal The Lancet has warned that the death toll could reach 1 million by August. India has already the third highest COVID-19 death toll in the world. Al Jazeera Pavan Mitar reports from New Delhi, India.
Mass cremations like this are becoming common in India. These family members have been waiting for hours to say their final goodbyes to their loved ones.
He was my relative and his name was Vijay Kumar Jaipal. He had COVID-19 for last 10 days and was admitted to a private hospital. Last evening he got a bed in civil hospital here. He was 35 years old and has 2 young children and he passed away this morning. His wife is 30 years old. May no one face such a tragedy ever.
Accelerator.
Many experts believe new strains of the virus are behind India's steep rise in infections and are worried about their potential impact on vaccines.
One that was first identified in India, the B1617, is likely to be a variant of concern because it has some mutations which increase transmission and which also potentially could make them resistant to antibodies that are generated by vaccination or by natural infection.
Some states are imposing restrictions and curfews to arrest the spread of the virus. But many people believe anything short of a national lockdown is inadequate.
The situation is really bad. The problem is that the lockdown is not strict enough. If the lockdown was stricter, we probably would have been able to break the chain, which we're not able to do right now. Maharashtra was able to break the chain after a month of lockdown.
People are scrambling to get appointments to be vaccinated, as states report doses are in short supply. The government in New Delhi has asked the central government for more vaccines, saying it will run out of doses in the next 4 to 5 days. And although cases are falling here, the state has extended its lockdown by another week. Pavni Mittal, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
In sports news, Kamlanga Community Ground in Kabwata constituency will soon receive a facelift. Kamlanga Ward 9 Councillor Jonas Peary says this follows the release of over 300,000 kwacha. He says the money is part of the Kabwata Constituency Development Fund. In an interview with Live TV News, Mr. Peary said the procurement of materials for the work has already commenced. Mr. Peary says the facility will be renovated before the general election. Charlotte Chunda reports.
Chipolopolo international football icon Chisambalungu kick-started his footballing career here at Kamlanga. Children here want to emulate Chisambalungu. The state of this community ground in Lusaka's Jack compound is a major source of concern, especially during the rainy season.
Kuna mutikonzera ko ground mutosema vimyara na bonse kuoneka ko blume
ayo kunako ku bafanike panga ko benches konkalira ko bantu
chai ya futi ground vimyara umu batea bora bina ngashita futi.
And now, this will be the thing of the past as the CDF committee has released funds for the renovation of the ground.
We have been on the ground actually for the past years, actually, not even months, to see if we could find the stakeholders, probably people that in the fraternity of sports to assist us. And we actually managed this time around, and we convinced the committee this time around we're going to renovate or give a face to Kamlanga Wada and Jack ground. As I'm speaking to you, everything is in the hands of the procurement, and we are trying to ensure that probably we could be able to do it as quickly as possible. Our interest is to put a barricade, a wall fence around it, and indeed just to make a pitch that is well, so that our sports women and men could be able to run in a right place and a well-modeled place. So basically, as I'm speaking, everything is in place, and we just await that the contractor could be able to come on the ground as soon as possible.
These children hope the ground is renovated as quickly as possible. Charlotte Sijunda, Live TV News in Lusaka.
Before we end the news, a recap of the headlines. 19 political parties have successfully paid their presidential nomination fees ahead of the August 12 presidential polls. For the second day in a row, more than 4,000 people have died of COVID-19 in India. UK medical journal The Lancet has warned the death toll could reach 1 million by August. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is Indaji Danke Simwanza. Have a blessed evening.